I've come to a harsh realization: Owen lacks responsibility and compassion. It's clear now that I have to take decisive action. I've decided to stay in this house with my parents, and Owen will need to leave. Since we got married, Owen has depended on me for everything. Despite my efforts, and the $4,000 I pay in monthly rent, he's now trying to force me out of my own home. This is my breaking point. 4 months. I've contemplated divorce, but Owen's selfishness and dismissive remarks have solidified my decision. I told him firmly, I will leave this house. Yes, but for now, you need to go. His response? A shrug and a flippant, fine, I'll be out tonight and back tomorrow. Just make sure you're gone by then. The nerve of him. Don't you even care to check what I might take with me? I asked. He replied without hesitation, don't touch my equipment. Do whatever you want with the rest of the stuff. His dismissive attitude left me stunned but also resolute. If he's giving me free rein to manage the household items, I might as well use the opportunity wisely. Perhaps it's time Owen faces the consequences of his choices. I've already started planning, if necessary. I'll hire a removal service to pack up everything I care about. Owen might finally learn what it's like to deal with the aftermath of his actions. Let me give you some context. I'm Erica, 31 years old, a graduate of a prestigious program, and a researcher at a well-known company. My career is stable, and I earn enough to afford a $4,000 a month apartment. On paper, my life seems ideal: a good job, a nice home, and a family. I have a husband, Owen, and a son, Sam. From the outside, it might look like I have it all. But appearances can be deceiving. That $4,000 rent is a significant strain on our budget, even with my decent salary. The real issue, however, is Owen's refusal to contribute meaningfully. At 32, he's still chasing a dream of becoming a musician. I once admired his ambition. In his early days, he performed at events and small venues, and his passion was inspiring. But that was years ago. The income he makes from part-time jobs is erratic, and his dream of making it big feels more like an illusion. Meanwhile, I've been left to shoulder all the responsibility. When I voice my concerns about the financial burden, Owen dismisses them. You sound like an old woman. He scoffs. I'm not complaining, I'm stating facts. I've been patient, supportive, and understanding, but my patience has run out. I've carried this marriage and this family long enough. Owen's refusal to change has forced me to make a choice. Divorce is no longer just an idea, it's the solution. I deserve a life where I'm not constantly worrying about rent or being belittled for speaking the truth. Sam and I deserve better. It's time to prioritize my well-being and let go of a relationship that only holds me back. When I was younger, I saw Owen's potential. He seemed full of promise, and I believed in his dreams. When I got pregnant, he promised to work hard for our future. I was 20 when we got married, and I thought he would let go of his music career to focus on building a life with us. At first, I felt guilty for questioning his choices. I didn't want him to feel like he had to abandon his dreams entirely. But after Sam was born, nothing changed. Owen kept chasing his music dreams, working part-time jobs, and acting as if he had no other obligations. I couldn't take it anymore. One day, I confronted him. How long do you plan to keep working part-time? You're almost 32. People your age are building careers. I have my own way of living, he replied, dismissively. Don't compare me to others. His words infuriated me. Your way of living doesn't mean anything if you're not contributing. Start helping with household expenses. When I become famous, he shot back, I'll make up for the money I'm not earning now. Stop dreaming and face reality. I snapped. He had no answer. Eventually, he picked up another part-time job, but it wasn't enough. Despite everything, he kept talking about his dreams. You're being too noisy, he'd say. Times have changed. There are so many ways to succeed without signing with an agency. I'm making progress, even if it's slow. It's exhausting. His band broke up years ago, and the other members moved on. Some got married, others found steady jobs. Owen clings to the past. He calls giving up on dreams pathetic, but I see it differently. Sacrificing a dream to support your family is meaningful and responsible. Is that so wrong? When I was pregnant, Owen promised to work hard for our child. What he really meant was he'd keep working hard at his music career. I kept hoping he'd change, but now I see it's not going to happen. Did you buy expensive clothes again? I asked recently, frustrated. Looking good is important for my job, he replied. His job? His dream? His excuses? They're not enough anymore. It's time for me to move on. I'm ready to rebuild a life of stability and happiness for myself and my son, without Owen holding us back. I couldn't believe it. Owen hasn't made a single dollar from his music career. Yet he talks as if he's already a star. It's been 11 years since our son, Sam, was born, and Owen is still working part-time jobs. At nearly 32, he spent years chasing dreams that have yielded no tangible success. Instead of contributing to the household, he spends money on expensive clothes and music equipment. I wish you'd spend less on those things and help with the household expenses, I told him. You can't satisfy hunger with pretense. These things are necessary for me, he snapped back. His attitude fuels our arguments. We try to discuss these issues privately, away from Sam, but in a small apartment. It's impossible to keep our voices from carrying. Sam often overhears, and that's one reason we've considered moving to a bigger place. As our son grows, the apartment only feels more cramped. Sam's 11 now, and this place is too small, I told Owen. Should we move? Yeah, he said nonchalantly. This was your house originally anyway, right? You lived here alone before we got married. Do you have a problem with that? I asked. It's not a problem, he replied, but I'd like to move to a bigger place, maybe a high-rise condo. That would be cool. And who's going to pay for it? I pressed. I'll help with the household expenses, he said, as if it were a great concession. You handle the rent, and I'll cover electricity, gas, and groceries. Please, I really want to live in a high-rise condo. With my salary, it was possible to afford the rent, and his offer to help, even in a small way, gave me a flicker of hope. Maybe this was the push he needed to start valuing money and taking responsibility. Okay, I agreed. I'll look for a place, but since I'm paying the rent, I get to choose where we live. Deal? Deal, he said eagerly. As long as it's a high-rise condo, I'm fine with whatever you pick. I hoped this move would mark a fresh start for our family, but things didn't go as planned. A year after moving into the condo, Owen is still chasing his music dreams, still making excuses, and still breaking promises. Hey, the gas bill came, I reminded him one day. Make sure you pay it before it's debited from my account. I'll give it to you next time, he said casually. When is next time? You always say that, but you never pay, I said, frustration boiling over. Do you think money isn't important? I'm asking for the bare minimum to cover our bills. Why do I have to keep scolding you about this? All you ever do is fuss about money, he snapped. His dismissiveness left me fuming. Owen promised to help with the bills, but it's clear his promises were empty. Thankfully, I set up direct payments for utilities to avoid overdue charges. Otherwise, Owen would likely neglect them entirely. Occasionally, he leaves small amounts of money behind, like the $100 bill I once found on the living room table. For a moment, I thought maybe he was embarrassed to hand it to me directly. Perhaps it was his way of showing he cared, but then I realized I was wrong. He hadn't paid his share of the electricity bill that month either. I do pay sometimes, don't I? Owen argued when I confronted him. It felt like he only handed over small amounts to soothe his conscience. Then there were the lies. One day, he asked me, I want to take my parents on a trip. Can you lend me some money? How much do you need? I asked. $100 should be enough, he replied. I gave him the money, but deep down, I knew it wasn't for a trip. Owen has a habit of lying when he wants pocket money. He likely used it to treat his friends or buy something frivolous. Meanwhile, I'm left paying $4,000 a month for rent. I thought moving into this condo might inspire Owen to take work more seriously, but he continues to let me down. I can't save for the future under these conditions. I'd rather use the money for something meaningful, like Sam's education or our retirement. I've considered divorce before, but now it's becoming a serious option. Then Owen said something that made my decision crystal clear. Hey, we have an unused room, right? I was thinking of clearing it out and making it a space for my parents, he said. A room for your parents? Are you saying they'd move in with us? I asked, surprised. My parents are getting older. We can't just leave them alone, he said, trying to sound noble. I know Owen well enough to see through him. He talks big but rarely follows through. Who does he think pays the $4,000 rent? I also cover all living expenses and our son's education. The idea of taking on the responsibility of his parents as well was unacceptable. I'm against it, I replied firmly. Don't answer so quickly. Think about it for a while, he urged. I have thought about it, and my answer is no, I said again. Why are you being so stubborn? What's wrong with taking care of my parents? Are you telling me to abandon them? You're heartless, he snapped. To an outsider, I might sound selfish, but the problem isn't his parents, it's Owen. If they moved in, I know I'd be the one taking care of them, just as I handle everything else in this household. I will not live with your parents, I said resolutely. Owen glared at me. Fine, I'll live here with them. You need to leave. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Since we got married, Owen has been entirely dependent on me, and now he's trying to kick me out of the house I pay for. His selfishness and irresponsibility made my decision clear. Fine, I said coldly. I'll leave. Good. Pack your things and get out quickly. I'll be back tomorrow evening. Make sure you're gone by then. Are you sure you don't want to check what I might take with me? I asked. Don't touch my equipment. Do whatever you want with the rest, he said before storming out. With Owen gone, a strange sense of freedom washed over me. As I stood there, my 15-year-old son, Sam, stepped out of his room. Mom, I'll help you pack. I'll go with you too, he said softly, trying to comfort me. His words broke my heart. Whenever Owen and I fought, Sam would quietly retreat to avoid the tension. As a parent, it crushed me to see my child feel like he had to tiptoe around us. Where should we start, Mom? He asked. Start with your own things, I said. I have something else to handle. I couldn't help but smile bitterly. Owen was about to get a little shock of his own. As I grabbed my phone and made a call, I prepared for the next step in our escape. Hello, I'm sorry for the last-minute request, but could you help us tomorrow? I asked. Once everything essential was packed, my son and I left for a business hotel to figure out our next move. It wasn't ideal, but it felt like the first step toward reclaiming our lives. That evening, as expected, Owen called. I placed my phone on the table, exchanged a glance with Sam, and answered. What's going on? Where are you? Owen's voice was loud and agitated. What do you mean? Is there a problem? I asked calmly. All my clothes and equipment are here, but everything else is gone. Where's the table? The fridge? Did you take them? His panic was palpable. No, I replied. I called a junk removal service. By now, it's probably all been burned. Sam, sitting nearby, chimed in. Owen fell silent for a moment, likely shocked to realize Sam was still with me. What do you mean, burned? He finally sputtered. The furniture and appliances are marital property. You told me I could do whatever I wanted with everything except your equipment, so I did, I said. How am I supposed to live now? He yelled. If you need furniture, buy new ones. In the meantime, use your amp as a chair or wrap your guitar in a towel for a pillow, I replied, unable to keep the sarcasm out of my voice. That's not funny. How could you do something so nasty? He snapped. We're getting a divorce, I said firmly. Yes, I understand, he replied, trying to sound unaffected. I knew he thought this was just another argument, but I had made up my mind. His response only strengthened my resolve. Good, I said. We'll talk about the details later. Since you're planning to live in the house with your parents, I'll go to the real estate agent tomorrow to update the contract. Owen hesitated. If you change the contract to my name, the divorce will be final. Are you sure about this? He asked, his voice trembling. Yes, I said coldly, making it clear there was no turning back. His pride wouldn't let him backtrack, even though I could tell he regretted how far things had gone. A few days later, we went to the real estate office to finalize the condo arrangements. I ended my part of the contract with ease, but Owen hit a wall when he tried to transfer it to his name. What? The rent is $4,500? His face went pale. He had no idea how expensive it was, because he'd never asked. He assumed he could rely on his parents to help cover the cost, but their retirement income made that impossible. You've been paying this much every month? He asked in disbelief. Yes, I replied, and I've been covering everything else too, because you never contributed. I can't afford this, he admitted. Of course not, I said. You wouldn't even pass the screening. The real estate agent confirmed this, and Owen sat in stunned silence. So, what do I do now? He finally asked. If you can't sign the contract, you'll have to leave, I said matter-of-factly. Owen's face reddened, a mix of anger and humiliation. Reluctantly, he left the office, realizing he was completely out of his depth. After the divorce was finalized, Owen's life fell apart. When I informed his parents about the situation, they decided to stop supporting him until he found stable work. Unable to rely on them, Owen struggled to rent even a small apartment. His freelancing income was too unstable to sustain a music career, and at 32, his chances of finding a regular job were slim. Meanwhile, I found a new apartment for Sam and me. The rent is much more affordable, and I can finally use my income for meaningful things like our future. While I don't fault anyone for chasing their dreams, I found peace in creating a stable, happy life for my son. That's what truly matters to me now.